There's a major crisis going on in the world. And I personally believe that if we got this crisis under control, we solve 80% of the problems in our society. There'd be less money problems, less jealousy, less envy, less hate. Things like depression wouldn't be so prevalent. All by fixing this one thing. Now, what is this major crisis that I'm talking about? I'm talking about lack of purpose. Now, if you're anything like I was, you may be wondering, well, how exactly do you figure out what your purpose is? And we're going to get into that in a minute. But first, I just want to touch on a few reasons why I believe that lack of purpose is the root cause to all of these problems. When we're lost in life, our mind doesn't function properly because our thoughts aren't organized, which leads to things like anxiety, fear, depression, etc. Because your mind isn't at ease. And what happens is your problems become your main focus, or in this case, your problems become your purpose or your goal or whatever you want to call it. Life is never made unbearable by circumstances, but only by lack of meaning and purpose. Viktor Frankl. Wise words from Viktor Frankl, who survived the concentration camp. Also, the author to one of my favorite books of all time, Man's Search for Meaning. Make sure you go check that out. Viktor Frankl also says in the book that the main reason he believed that he was able to continue to fight while being in the concentration camp was because of his purpose, which at the time was making it back to his family, who also was in the concentration camp. And he also said that most of the guys that didn't make it, they had one thing in common. They lacked purpose. Jesus said, there's no vision, people perish. So lack of purpose will literally kill you quicker than anything else in life. Take a person who's disrespectfully out of shape. They never go to the gym. They eating any and everything. Like they got a tapeworm in their stomach. I mean, they just can't stop stuffing their face. It's an addiction. But then one day, the doctor gets your blood work back. And he's like, yo, you're on the verge of diabetes, heart problems, and you currently have high blood pressure right now. I'm going to need you to change the way you're living right now. I'm going to need you to start getting in the gym, changing your diet, etc. Or you may not be living any much longer. Boom. Now you have a reason to get your health in order. In other words, now you have a purpose. All right, now let's get into some actionable stuff. Here's how you discover your purpose. First thing first, you need a vision. Now, me personally, one thing that's given me much more clarity on discovering my purpose is having a relationship with God, right? Just being in alignment with my higher power has allowed me to understand what his vision is for my life more so than leaning on my own understanding of what my vision is. And I think a lot of times we try to lean too much on intellect, but everything isn't intellectual. If you're still having trouble coming up with a vision for your life and getting more clarity, you're going to create what I call an anti-vision. Now, what is an anti-vision? The anti-vision is simply looking at the things that you don't like in your life, or not even just your life alone, but just the things about life in general, the things that you see, right? You go to the grocery store and you see someone who's out of shape and you look at what they got inside their grocery cart, right? You're like, oh, okay, I know not to eat that. You look at the relationships of maybe the people that you grew up with and maybe your aunt or your uncle who were married for 30 years and they're miserable. And you're like, okay, I know I don't want that. So creating anti-vision is just looking at the things that you know that you don't want in your life and the people around you and doing it with humility, not with judgment at all, and saying, okay, I can learn from their mistakes and maybe I can go the other way and navigate like that. You see someone who worked a job for 30 years and they're miserable when they retire and they die. And you're like, okay, I don't want that, right? Maybe you worked a job that you don't like. You're like, yo, this I can't do. I don't want this. And use that as leverage on yourself to create a vision that you want, so you can have something that you will work towards. Another thing, one of the things that I've actually done once I got clear on what my vision was for my life was actually creating tunnel vision. And there's about 3 steps within that. The first thing in creating tunnel vision on your vision is you want to create or you want to have a mental detox, right? So one, with the mental detox is limit your phone usage for a certain period of time. I don't care if it's a week, 2 weeks. I personally recommend at least 30 days, to be honest, where you limit your phone usage, kind of like the whole monk mode thing that these guys talk about a lot, but this is more practical, to where you limit your phone usage to maybe 1 or 2 hours max. You might even actually set up where your phone can actually cut off, where you can't even use it after a certain period of time. So I recommend 1 to 2 hours a day of phone usage so that you're mentally detoxing. This is going to allow what you call your particular activating system to reset. It's going to allow your RAS to reprioritize what's most important to you, right? So certain things that used to be distractions, you don't even see them anymore. Like you just get so tunnel vision and locked in on what actually is important to you. So first thing first is a mental detox, right? No scrolling on social media. I would completely eliminate that for this week or 2 weeks. Like I said, I recommend a month of the mental detoxing where you're doing no social media, you're not texting anyone, you actually got a set time on where people can actually reach you, and you got 2 hours a day tops where you can do that. The second thing within the mental detox, it kind of ties in with the last one, but we want to continue to do this part even after you do the limited phone usage, right? And that's, you want to completely ignore any and every content that does not align with your goal. So if your goal is to start a new business and start making money online, and you used to have an addiction of porn or something like that, okay, you need to completely ignore looking at looking at women on X, let's say, because X is one of those platforms where it's kind of like porn on the timeline, I would say. You need to completely ignore content like that. Just anything and everything that does not align with your actual goal, with where you want to go. You should be completely ignoring it, or else you're tempting yourself to fall back into that trap of distraction. So yeah, that's part 2 of the mental detoxing. Completely eliminate any and everything that does not align with your goal. Okay, the next thing you want to do when creating tunnel vision or mental detoxing is become aware of mental parasites. Here's what I mean. Mental parasites are anything that things like your limiting beliefs, your worries, your doubts, your fears, anything that plagues your mind and takes your mind off of your greatness, takes your mind off of your vision itself, like anything that throws you off, right? Anything that's held you back before, right? Telling yourself the old story or of, you're not good enough, you're not wise enough, you're not smart enough, whatever it is, anything that does not help you evolve, anything that does not serve you is a mental parasite. You need to become aware of those things. I don't care if you need to journal about them, write them down, take a picture of them, whatever it is, have an accountability partner, but you need to become aware of those. Hey, if you need to, create some affirmations for whatever those mental parasites are. If you're doubting your ability to, let's say that your goal is to create an online business, if you're doubting your ability to write good content, if you're doubting your ability to do that, that's a mental parasite. Maybe you want to create an affirmation that you speak back to that mental parasite. Whatever it is, hey, I know that I can create great content because I'm working at it each and every day. I might not be good enough at it right now yet, but I will get better at it because I'm going to continue to go after it each and every day to where I know that over time I can only get better, right? So become aware of those mental parasites. Start to create a new belief that serves you better. Next thing in creating tunnel vision is writing down your goal clearly in one sentence. and every day having 3 important tasks that helps you work towards that goal, right? So you start from 1 to 3 most important tasks each day to help you move you towards your important goal, right? To help create tunnel vision towards that goal. And once you start on the first important task, you don't move on to part 2 until you finish the first one, right? Then the next day you do the same thing. 3 important tasks that helps you move towards your goal. Now, if you finish 2 of those tasks today and you got 1 left for today, that means tomorrow you only need to write down 2 new ones to help you move towards your goal. Let me give you an example. Okay, let's say my goal is to make 1,000 subscribers on uh, uh, X, Twitter. Okay, my goal or important task for the day may be, let me comment on 10 people's posts, right? Let me hop inside the DM of 3 people. You just write down tasks each day that helps you move towards that goal. Once you start on 1, you finish that, knock that out, then you go on to 2. If you don't knock out 2 yet, you don't move on to 3 until you finish each one in priority tasks. Each day you do this over and over and over again. And next thing you know, you look up and you reached your important goal. Okay, the next thing we want to do when it comes to creating tunnel vision is mentally rehearse. Now, when I say mentally rehearse, that does not mean that you have to be sitting down every day, meditating like, and all that, seeing in your mind's eye each and every day what you want it to look like 2 years from now, 3 years from now, 5 years from now, what your life is going to look like in different areas, right? Just seeing the small details of that. How would you want your physique to look? What kind of spouse or partner would you want to have? What is the work going to look like that you're doing, right? Just allowing yourself to immerse more so in the details of that so that you get more clarity as you go. Because as we all know, lack of clarity is the basis for a lot of mental hardship and a lot of confusion that goes on with most of us. All right, that's enough for this video. I hope this helped. Let me know what was your biggest takeaway from this. Let me know if you feel like there was something that I missed. Like, comment, share, subscribe, all that YouTube stuff. All right, and until next time, stay true.